Alright guys, this video is a fall planning video, not a preparation, just a fall planning video. I'm going to cover some things I'm planning to do here. And before I continue on here, I know there were some of you that were interested in my fall and winter blend ratios. I will attach that at the end of this video. So if you wish to see that, you can go to the end of the video and I'll cover what I will be doing. Just a quick update here. You can see I've got the runway created. That's 2 passes wide. I'm going to add a half of a pass on this side right here, and that will finish up this part of my cutting for the field, and it should be left as is for the winter, except I will be taking the opportunity to spray trees and briars out. I'm actually spraying the plot today, so that's another thing that I want to get done. If you want, I'm not sure if I want to do that video or not, but I will be spraying a lot of this nasty out of here. So let's get into the discussion of fall plans. So like last year, I intend to do some tilling in a certain area of the food plot, which is right here. If I can get through this jungle, it's getting harder and harder to accomplish this every trip. It just gets taller, taller, and taller. Everything is growing at a lightning fast pace right now. It's getting ready to finish up. So here is section 4. For those of you that recognize this, this is where I did my soil improvements videos last fall. And I think you see that there is a gigantic leap forward this year. So I have way more biomass, and that includes the sun hemp, which is like 5 to 10 times larger than last year at the minimum, and it's still rapidly growing. You know, that's 6.5 feet tall easily. I've had these as high as 12 feet before, but I'm thinking around 9 feet this year. Maybe some of these will hit 9.5. We'll see. But that means now I got a ton of biomass in here. The deer vetch is vastly improved. The combination of the bacteria I put in here, the humic acid that I treated this place with to at least give it some carbon. Also, I keep forgetting to do a humic acid video, but the reason another big reason I want humic acid in here as a treatment, it benefits your bacteria, so it kind of helps them to thrive in the soil faster than not putting it in there at all. So that's one reason why my bacteria numbers have exploded in here. And this, I haven't put any fertilizer in here at all. That's the first time in my life I can actually say I have not used any fertilizer other than what I had set out, that boron treatment earlier in the year. That's it. I figured I was going to come in here and dump about, 40, 50 pounds of P&K, but now that the bacteria is going, sure don't look like I need it. Granted, the green level's not exactly where I want it. But as far as the plans go, the goal this year is this area that you see all the way up to where the soybean is right there. I want to kill off about 60% of this material. Maybe a hair more than that, maybe pushing 70. Somewhere in that 60 to 70 range. Have a kill off of this because I don't want to completely wipe out my deer vetch. But the sun hemp is not likely going to survive a till. Most likely it won't. If it does, it may sprout off a stump or something. Or if it breaks off just right, it could sprout off one of the break-offs. But most likely the sun hemp will be gone. That'll create a nice, big, nitrogen-rich, rotting mat. Same thing with the deer vetch here because they are nitrogen fixers as well. And one thing I want to talk about too is when I do these plans, I like to do walkthroughs in the plot, especially if you're not doing soil tests. I kind of have to have something in mind that maybe something needs fixing when I want to do my fall crop. So I'm just waiting for fall, but we do see purple coming back in the deer vetch here. So that's not the color I want to see. So when I till this down, I'm going to do a boron treatment. I will add trace minerals very heavily in here. I haven't put any trace minerals in here, period. So that will be this area's first treatment of trace mineral. I think that is greatly going to help this place even more. So not only is it growing really kind of lush at this point, but next year it's going to have an even better start. So that's a fantastic thing for me. That means even less work as everything works out all right and no crazy weather conditions happen. So the tilling is definitely going to be a little different. I have some crazy good looking soybean in here. So I don't want to destroy this. I mean, you're looking at soybean that's 4.5 feet tall already and still climbing extremely fast. It rained again yesterday. I was going to come out here and spray because it didn't look like it was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it just hit out of nowhere. So I had to wait till today to do the spraying. So I'm going to jump on that here after the video. But I'm going to come in up here at the corner where that volunteer screen wall is, just on above it about another 10 feet or so. That area grew the weakest, so I will do the smallest amount of damage possible when I enter the plot. This year I don't need to till this wall down. It's not really a wall, but what used to be my screen wall. That needs to stay because I'm going to have grains developing very, very soon. So I don't want to take away a valuable food source here. So I'll enter and exit through the same place I come in. Also up here on the upper end of the plot, the deer really kept that in check. That is where the heaviest browse occurred, mainly because they're just coming right out and there it is. And it allowed a whole bunch of nasty morning glory vines to grow in there. I don't want an overstock wave of morning glory vines in here. I don't mind having a few here and there, but when you have an overwhelming amount of vines up there, that's got to be dealt with. So I'm going to spray the whole top out from end to end and section 2, and then I'm going to focus on destroying morning coffee down here in section 3, and that would nearly be the end of it. I think we're getting there. I have made some fantastic progress on that. The other plans, as far as the island goes, I will be doing that first. I want to make sure that I have the island planted and cleaned up, ready to go as soon as roughly the first week of September. All these plans hinge on rainfall forecast. So even though I'm calling for the first week of September, if it's not going to rain, I have to wait. So typically what I try to do is I want my fall blends planted anywhere from 60 to 45 days before my first average frost, which for me is around the first week of November to the late end of October. Mostly it occurs in November, but it can occur that last week of October easily. So I want to make sure I have enough growing time, plus you got decreasing sunlight, so your growth rates will begin to slow down. And you want to make sure that this is established and ready to go. These plans also coincide with the timing of oak trees, that big red oak right there. Once these nuts start dropping, deer are going to leave my plot. This will buy time for my plot to reestablish itself for the next fall and winter phase. And then as soon as they're satisfied with eating enough nuts, they will filter back into this plot and then start going back and forth between nuts and the plot. And that little 3 or 4 week window is perfect when it comes to timing these plantings. So that is the plan that I have in mind. I also intend to finish up at the barn as my third food plot. I know I hardly ever show that thing. That is my designated giant pumpkin growing patch. And this year I had tilled a spot about three or four swats down the middle of it, set out my pumpkins, and it kept raining, and it just drowned every one of them and killed them. I have never in my life had that happen. So I had no pumpkins this year, and the remaining part that I didn't till was my fall and winter blends, and I left them standing. And now I have a carpet of clover that I ain't even fertilized, and it looks fantastic. So the barn is already partially set up. I will show you that so you can see what that looks like. I'll show you the island. I may try to edit in different areas here as I do this, but as of right now, that is my plans, is to try to take care of this before it's too late. Also, I will be adding a deer vetch video. I will do a pro and con video before I destroy this, and I will go over the information on this plant. It seems like a lot of people enjoy that, which is a good sign that people are wanting to learn about what they're planting. And I definitely hope you get something out of those informational videos on those pros and con videos. All right, guys, so I'm going to end the video here and try to edit in the next few pieces to this, so hang tight. All right, guys, here is the pumpkin patch that I hardly ever show. And you can see there's not going to be much to this. I mean, I didn't even have to fertilize this clover, not once. Did absolutely nothing to it. Just let it do what it wanted to do, and it took off. Same right here. This would have been that way, but right here's where I had set out some pumpkins, and they died, and the weeds took over. And down there's my hives that my brother's running. And where that right there is setting, I'm going to be tilling that area up, getting all them weeds out of there, and planting fall blend in here. But that's not bad at all. I'm actually really happy with that. I've seen deer in here all summer long, passing through when they're dropping. They've been bedding their fawns in that area down in there. It's actually getting overgrown. I need to go back and redo that now. But they would come up here and snack on the clover for 20-30 minutes or so, and then head back down and go back and nurse their fawns. I've got, obviously I got a lot of cleanup to do. I've been building soil with this sawdust. I want to warn people about this. So this is kind of very similar to mulching your food plot. And I'm talking like people that create food plots from, stuff like this down here. Whenever you take one of those shredders and run it through there to grind all them trees up, you're mulching the plot, which initially may feel like a good idea, but you're actually distracting the microbes from doing what they need to do. And it may take a year to 2 years, depending on how thick your mulch layer is, for them to focus back on your plants. So it may feel like you've got really good soil, but it's not performing the way you want it, and it's the mulch counteracting some of what you need to do, or what the plants actually need to grow. But here, I'm letting it grow I'm letting the mound grow as my uncle keeps adding more in, and I'm changing it to very healthy soil. And once I see it look like this, I can separate that out and add it to my pumpkin patch and create some really healthy looking soil. So that's getting very, very close right there. Matter of fact, some of that's already ready. This upper part's still got a little bit more to go. And there's a blue-tailed lizard in there. Right there he is. He's fast as lightning, or I'm just old and slow. But this is what I'm doing with this. I can also try this method with my food plot, because he's just going to keep bringing it up here and dumping it and dumping it. And I can take this up to the island per se when it's ready and introduce more soil faster than just making a mat. Mats are very quick. You know, as they get thicker and thicker, they ramp up soil production. I can make instant soil with this after it sits here another year or so. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do here. I got to clean up all this mess in here, pull out all this wood that I was going to use for walking boards, and get it out of here. Take my water collectors, clean them out for the year, and then try to till a couple of stripes up here as close to the barn as I can get. It is definitely time to do some cleaning here. There we go. One down. Won't be needing these for the rest of the year. Although I could put them back here as temporary holders just in case it does dry up and I can at least water this spot. We'll be plenty more time for that. All right, guys, on to the next area as I start doing my plans for the year. Have a good one. All right, guys, here is my fall plan for my seed ratios. You can see my seed has come in. Again, not sponsored by anybody. I just do research into different companies looking for the best solution for my soil. And I believe I found it with this company. All this seed that I ordered is coated in a mycorrhiza fungi and bacteria. This really has boosted my soil since I started using this seed. Big time help, has greatly reduced my fertilizer. That area where I showed you in section 4 at the beginning of this video, that is bacteria assisting me big time. That place erupted in plant size. So I plant this in the fall and winter to rapidly gain bacteria. And that place has blown up in growth and production results. So let's get into my ratios here. And basically I'm using what you see here. If you need to pause the video, please do. This is a 35-pound bag. And it's got instructions on here if you need some planting guidance. And it does do the 40 to 60 day window that I recommend as well. And I was doing that window before I ever switched to this company. But I believe they're a nice, good Christian company and really like their products. All right, so now that you've paused the video, you've seen what I'm putting out. The section 4, which is the deer vetch area, I'm probably anticipating a sow rate of 40 pounds, maybe up to as much as 50 pounds, depending on how much of it is surviving after I till one time through it. If it looks really thick and a lot of it's alive, then I'll go to the 50-pound sow rate because I'm broadcasting. Then I'll hit it with the tiller one more time, and that will be me sowing it back into the soil lightly so I don't bury it too deep. Because remember, you've got small percentages of depth you're playing with here. All right, so let's talk about me changing my mixes or modifying mixes. One of the things that I do is where I have learned about plant development. There is a situation that I run into every year, even though I may plant the plot and everything looks good, there's always going to be that area that just doesn't seem to grow or sprout well. And you may have to go back and add additional seed. Well, by the time you realize that that area may be suffering, that window before frost hits is very narrow. So what I'll do is I'll replace that with crimson clover, chicory, and cereal rye. That's the top 3 that I pick. I also can put out red top clover and or ladino clover as plants that can survive a little bit of that cold tolerance and still survive the winter and fill those spots in. So I kind of limit what species I will replace those with, which will modify what this mix looks like. Also, I want to change certain levels of plants. So like last season, I wanted more crimson clover because it has a very high attraction rate. It's very healthy for the soil. And I didn't plant so much of it that it killed out the other species. It may have choked out an extremely small percentage, but it did its job. So what I'll do is after I've sown this, I can take a pure bag of crimson clover, depending on how big your plots are, it's up to you, but I will sow that at a 5 to maximum of 7 pounds per acre sow rate back over what I've already put out. And then you can also do chicory, and I want that lightly scattered in the plot to keep a good balance so I don't have too much chicory in one spot, not enough over here. And I will buy those little bags in the store. I call them convenient seed bags. They're rated for a 1/4 of an acre, 1/2 an acre, maybe up to as much as an acre. And I will buy the quarters. And I will make that 1/4 acre spread over that whole 1 acre. So that means I'm sowing it very lightly. And that way, when it does come up, it's in sparse areas. It's not overly bearing, and my other species will be fine. So that is how I do my mixes on this. The soybean area, I will be sowing at up to as much as 100 pounds per acre sow rate. I have to really pack seed in that soybean because a lot of it may not survive the dry or the darkness under the soybean. Rats can get in there and nibble on it. I'm not tilling soybean down to bury my seed. I'm relying on the ground contact to do it for me. So you have to put that out at a much higher sow rate, which costs a lot more money. These bags or these boxes each contain a 35-pound bag, and there's over 230 something pounds worth in here. And my goal is not to use all that, but I ordered more seed than what is necessary, and I can re-sow the plot completely twice if I have to. So whatever seed is left over, I can shave that off of my money for next year, although the bacteria may not be any good at that point. So that's something to consider as well. All right, guys, so I hope this helps you. Hopefully I haven't confused you in any way. But again, this is my basis of what I start with, and then I can go through and add whatever species that suits the fall-winter mode that you want to. You get to have fun with these mixes. You might experiment and come to find that a certain plant added to your mix adds a whole lot of attraction or extra tonnage. Maybe it improves your soil slightly faster, creates more soil faster. You know, this is what I do. I enjoy looking at different things, and whatever method I think works the best, I will look at that, fine-tune what I need to, and hopefully that will carry me over for the future years to come. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and as always, you all have a great day.